Okay, this is going to be a somewhat controversial opinion, but I actually find a lot of enjoyment in James Cameron's 2009 smash hit, Avatar. I will admit that this movie does have its fair share of problems. It's far from being perfect, but I still think that the movie has far more pros than it does cons. Alright, so it'll probably be fair to talk a little bit about what exactly I don't like about this film. Many people have stated that this movie has too much cliché dialogue, characters, and certain plot developments are somewhat predictable. Unfortunately, I have to agree with these claims. This movie's main character, Jake Sully, does a lot of narration, and it sounds extremely cliched and just unnatural. The same thing goes for the dialogue given to the other characters, too. I think this is a real shame, because this movie has some amazing visuals that still hold up by today's standards. This movie took full advantage of its 3D graphics, and successfully brought 3D back into the mainstream. It delivered on immersing the audience in another world and giving them an amazing experience that nearly every Hollywood movie is still trying to replicate to this very day. This movie has many examples of great visual storytelling, and a lot of it is sadly overshadowed by the pretentious dialogue. Now, I admit that the dialogue is definitely not the best, and the story is also a bit predictable, but I honestly don't have a huge problem with the story. People like to say that Avatar just copied the stories of movies that came before it. I genuinely find this complaint to be incredibly stupid. Everything that has ever been created ever has taken inspiration from something else. Nothing is entirely original. A good example of this is with the very first Star Wars movie. George Lucas took a lot of inspiration from existing works of fiction, but created something that ended up being very unique for its time and eventually spun off into its own massive franchise. I'd like to think that the same thing is going to happen with Avatar. It started off by telling a story that has sort of been told before, but soon enough I guarantee that it will turn into its own unique series with the release of Avatar 2. They needed to do something simple for the first movie. This is going to sound like I'm copying Nathan Zed and his video about Avatar, but what he said was true. Telling a simple story to start a franchise is a perfectly fine tactic to help introduce people to the world that the movie takes place in. Nathan Zed also said this in his video, but James Cameron has made some of the best sequels in movie history. With the amount of time Cameron is taking to make Avatar 2, and with all the behind-the-scenes photos we've seen so far, it's pretty safe to assume that Avatar 2 will probably improve on certain aspects that were bad in the first movie, but also show us more of Pandora and its environment. It will also probably be just as revolutionary as the first one on a technical scale. The next movie is seemingly utilizing underwater motion capture technology, which is just insane, and I'm really hoping it's done well. Yeah, that's just what I'm hoping for. Now, with all of that said, is the story bad on its own? While I do agree that it does borrow things from other movies, I still think that there is an overwhelming amount of originality. This movie has an enormous quantity of world building, with all of the wildlife and stunning scenery on Pandora, and all of the cool-looking military and mining technology from the RDA. The one Avatar movie has a great deal of lore and great world building. And like I said, it most certainly did not go overboard with it in the first movie. It kept things simple. A lot of Hollywood movies tend to fail at that. Some of the characters also aren't really that bad. Yes, a lot of them are cliched, but not all of them are. Jake Sully went through tons of character development, and you can't prove me otherwise. By the end of the movie, he became an entirely different species. And it's not just that. I also found Jake and Neytiri's relationship to be very entertaining. Yes, it has been done similarly before, but their relationship was still handled very well in this motion picture. And I guess that's it. My positive review of James Cameron's Avatar. I really like this movie, despite its flaws. I can't say that I was upset that it lost the #1 spot to Avengers Endgame, since that movie is also good, but I can say that I was pretty happy that it regained its title of the #1 highest-grossing movie of all time recently, due to it getting re-released in China, I think. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, do all that garbage, and I'll see you guys next time.